Namaskar, Jai Shri Krishna. Interpreting texts 13, 14, text 15 and text 16 of chapter 6 Jnana Yoga of Srimad Bhagavad Gita. Texts 13, 14. Samama Kai Shiro Grivam Dharayanana Chalam Sthirah Samaprekshya Nasikagram Swama Disha Shravan Valokayan प्रशांतात्मा विगतभिर ब्रह्मचारी व्रते स्थितः मनः समयम्य मचचित्तो युक्त आसित मतपरः. One should hold one's body, neck and head in a straight line and stare steadily at the tip of the nose. Thus, with an unagitated, subdued mind, devoid of fear, completely free from sex life, one should meditate upon me within the heart and make me the ultimate goal of life. The goal of life is to know Krishna, who is situated within the heart of every living being as Paramatma, the four-handed Vishnu form. The yoga process is practiced in order to discover and see this localized form of Vishnu and not for any other purpose. The localized Vishnu Murti is a plenary representation of Krishna dwelling within one's heart. One who has no program to realize this Vishnu Murti is uselessly engaged in mock yoga practice and is certainly wasting his time. Krishna is the ultimate goal of life and the Vishnu Murti situated in one's heart is the object of yoga practice. To realize this Vishnu Murti within the heart, one has to observe complete abstinence from sex life. Therefore, one has to leave home and live alone in a secluded place, remaining seated as mentioned above. One cannot enjoy sex life daily at home or elsewhere and attend a so-called yoga class and thus become a yogi. One has to practice controlling the mind and avoiding all kinds of sense gratification, of which sex life is the chief. In the rules of celibacy, written by the great sage Yajnavalkya, it is said, Karmana manasa vacha sarva vasthasu sarvada sarvatra maithuna tyago brahmacharyam prakakshate. The vow of brahmacharya is meant to help one completely abstain from sex indulgence in work, words and mind at all times, under all circumstances and in all places. No one can perform correct yoga practice through sex indulgence. Brahmacharya is taught therefore from childhood when one has no knowledge of sex life. Children at the age of 5 are sent to the Gurukul or the place of the spiritual master, and the master trains the young boys in the strict discipline of becoming brahmacharis. Without such practice, no one can make advancement in any yoga, whether it be karma, jnana or bhakti. One who, however, follows the rules and regulations of married life, doing a sexual relationship only with his wife and that also under regulation, is also called a brahmachari. Such a restrained householder brahmachari may be accepted in the bhakti school, but the karma and jnana schools do not even admit household brahmacharis. They require complete abstinence without compromise. In the bhakti school, a householder brahmachari is allowed controlled sex life because the cult of bhakti yoga is so powerful that one automatically loses sexual attraction being engaged in the superior service of the Lord. In the Bhagavad Gita 2.59, it is said, Visaya vinivartante niraharasya dehinah rasa varjam raso api asya param drushtava nivartate. Whereas others are forced to restrain themselves from sense gratification, a devotee of the Lord automatically refrains because of superior taste. Other than the devotee, no one has any information of that superior taste. Vigata bhir. One cannot be fearless unless one is fully in Krishna's consciousness. A conditioned soul is fearful due to his perverted memory, his forgetfulness of his eternal relationship with Krishna. The Bhagavatam 11.2.37 says, Bhayam द्वितीयाभिनिवेशतः स्यात् ईशात् अपेतस्य विपर्ययो अस्मृतिः. Krishna's consciousness is the only basis for fearlessness. Therefore, perfect practice is possible for a person who is Krishna's conscious. And since the ultimate goal of yoga practice is to see the Lord within, a Krishna's conscious person is already the best of all yogis. The principles of the yoga system mentioned herein are different from those of the popular so-called yoga societies. Text 15. युञ्जन्नेवं सदात्मानं योगी नियत मानसः शांतिं निर्वाण परमाम मत समस्थाम धिगच्छति. Thus practicing constant control of the body, mind and activities, the mystic transcendentalist, his mind regulated, attains to the kingdom of God or the abode of Krishna by cessation of material existence. The ultimate goal in practicing yoga is now clearly explained. Yoga practice is not meant for attaining any kind of material facility. It is to enable the cessation of all material existence. One who seeks an improvement in health or aspires for material perfection is no yogi according to Bhagavad Gita. Nor does cessation of material existence entail one's entering into the void, which is only a myth. There is no void anywhere within the creation of the Lord. Rather, the cessation of material existence enables one to enter into the spiritual sky, the abode of the Lord. The abode of the Lord is also clearly described in the Bhagavad Gita as that place where there is no need of sun, moon or electricity. All the planets in the spiritual kingdom are self-illuminated like the sun in the material sky. The kingdom of God is everywhere, but the spiritual sky and the planets thereof are called Param Dham or superior abodes. A consummate yogi who is perfect in understanding Lord Krishna, as is clearly stated herein by the Lord himself, Mata Chitta Mata Paraha Mata Sthanam, can attain real peace and can ultimately reach his supreme abode, Krishna Loka, known as Goloka Vrindavan. In the Brahma Samhita 5.37, it is clearly stated, Goloka Iva Nivasati Akhilatma Bhutaha. The Lord, although residing always in his abode called Goloka, is the all-pervading Brahma and the localized Paramatma as well, by dint of his superior spiritual energies. No one can reach the spiritual sky Vaikuntha or enter into the Lord's eternal abode Goloka Vrindavan without the proper understanding of Krishna and his plenary expansion Vishnu. Therefore, a person working in Krishna's consciousness is the perfect yogi because his mind is always absorbed in Krishna's activities. Savai Manaha Krishna Padara Vindayoha. In the Vedas also, Shvetashvatara Upanishad 3.8 we learn Tama Iva Viditvati Mrityum iti. One can overcome the path of birth and death only by understanding the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Shri Krishna. In other words, perfection of the yoga system is the attainment of freedom from material existence and not some magical jugglery or gymnastic feats to befool innocent people. Text 16. Natya shana tastu yogo asti na chaikanta manashantah न चाति स्वप्न शिलस्य जाग्रतो नैव चार्जुन. There is no possibility of one's becoming a yogi, O Arjun, if one eats too much or eats too little, sleeps too much or does not sleep enough. Regulation of diet and sleep is recommended herein for the yogis. Too much eating means eating more than is required to keep the body and soul together. There is no need for men to eat animals because there is an ample supply of food grains, vegetables, fruits and milk. Such simple foodstuff is considered to be in the mode of goodness according to the Bhagavad Gita. Animal food is for those in the mode of ignorance. Therefore, those who indulge in animal food, drinking, smoking and eating food which is not first offered to Krishna will suffer sinful reactions because of eating only polluted things. भुंजते ते त्व अघाम पापा ये पश्यन्ति आत्म कारणात्. Anyone who eats for sense pleasure or cooks for himself, not offering his food to Krishna, eats only sin. One who eats sin and eats more than is allotted to him cannot execute perfect yoga. It is best that one eat only the remnants of foodstuff offered to Krishna. A person in Krishna's consciousness does not eat anything which is not first offered to Krishna. Therefore, only the Krishna's conscious person can attain perfection in yoga practice. nor can one who artificially creates abstinence from eating, manufactures his own personal process of fasting, practice yoga. The Krishna's conscious person observes fasting as it is recommended in the scriptures. He does not fast or eat more than is required, and he is thus competent to practice yoga. One who eats more than required will dream very much while sleeping, and he must consequently sleep more than is required. One should not sleep more than 6 hours daily. One who sleeps more than 6 hours out of 24 is certainly influenced by the mode of ignorance. A person in the mode of ignorance is lazy and prone to sleep a great deal. Such a person cannot perform yoga. Thank you.